Hey, it's Marina, travel experta, and today we are going to be talking about JFK Airport in New York. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. JFK Airport is literally the largest airport in New York City. It is the international airport. It is the main hub of New York City. And you would think with having such credentials as that it would be a beautiful airport or a good service airport or easy to get around airport. But interestingly enough, it's none of those. Well, it can be a little bit, but not really. And it's always become like a massive disappointment for me every time I seem to go there. And we're talking, I used to live in New York, and the airport used to always be under construction, and not much has changed. Anyways, so let's talk logistics. How to get to JFK? If you're coming from New York, if you're flying out of JFK, first of all, you could obviously take an Uber, a taxi, drop off your rental. Those are the easy ways. But one thing that is very accessible is the public transportation. So you would have to get on the subway that will take you to Jamaica, where you transfer from the subway to the terminal monorail. It's super, super easy. You use the same card as the Metro card, and it brings you right to the airport. Now, the airport itself is like a city. It has over 8 terminals, and each terminal is probably a good size airport in a small country. So we're talking huge, right? So you do need to know exactly where you're going so that you're not kind of, walking for miles, which is a possibility. Okay, that's actually not the hard part, right? It's understandable. It's a huge airport, whatnot. So we've had to take several flights out of JFK, and getting in, it's kind of, you go through the same process. You check in depending on your airline. Some will have outside, some inside, but then you have to get into the actual terminal to your gates, right? And depending on your terminal, just depend on the size of the gate and whatnot. And I have to say, I am so disappointed with the options that they have for restaurants and food stuff when you are in certain terminals. I don't know what it is. I can't imagine there being a discriminant thing, but still, there's first of all very few. Like we just had our most recent experience was flying to Europe. The terminal there, I mean, this is flying to Europe. Every single airline was overbooked, so it's not like nobody is there. The terminal was packed, and there was 5 places to get food. First of all, nothing healthy. There was one place that gave you a little bit of a salad, and one place that gave you some options for a fruit juice, like a smoothie. And it wasn't even like the real thing. You had to buy it in a box, right? At least it was organic, whatnot. And we do prefer to have healthier options, but that's not even the point. So we had to choose, from the other 4 or 5 places. First of all, the internet does not work there. It does not work there. It's telling you that it works there, but it doesn't work there. And if you ask anybody to help you with that, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows how to help you with that. And this has not been my first time with that issue. Normally, I get internet from the actual airlines, but when you, especially when you're flying in and arriving, but when you're departing, it doesn't work like that, right? You still are not technically with the airline. Anyways, so if you are roaming like we were because we don't live in the U.S., um, you make sure that you have your own internet to be safe, but don't rely on the internet at the airport. Now, the food situation there was absolutely horrendous. And, because you never know today how long it's going to be, sometimes you arrive 4 hours beforehand and you've crossed right through without any problem, no security, or you could get there and it will take you 2.5, 3 hours just to get to your gate because of security, whatever the reasons are. I mean, I've had to sometimes wait in security for 2 hours just to get through. So you always get there a little bit early. And because you don't want to carry all this crap with you, we always rely on getting food at the airport. And normally, every airport we've been to, it's been pretty simple. So here, it was a mess. Like there was only 3 or 4 places open by the time, and the lines were over an hour on each one because there's thousands of people and 4 tiny little places open. And right where we're standing online, One place, they completely ran out of food altogether and shut down. So everybody who's been waiting had to go somewhere else. And what they offered, nobody else offered. So we went to the next line because me and my husband are vegetarian. We were going for a vegetarian burger. Literally, by the time we got there, so everybody was online. Nobody ever said anything. We literally got the last burger there, and the guy who was working there knew nothing. He didn't have any option at all. He didn't know anything about any of the sauces. He didn't know what was offered. I mean, the guy was beyond clueless, and it was just really disheartening. Like, he just did not even care. He was It was amazing. But what's interesting is that we got the very last burger. Nobody was told. Right, so the people that have been waiting for about an hour behind us, because that's how slow it was, by the time they arrived there without knowing, there's no other option for vegetarian. I mean, it was terrible. Anyways, it was just chaos. So if you do go to this airport, I recommend bringing something to hold you over until your flight just to be safe. Or, you're going to have to buy some sort of crap food, which is going to cost you like $12 a bag of popcorn. So, anyways, these are my advices for JFK. When you do arrive, it is a little bit easier. Sometimes you go through customs in seconds. Sometimes you could go through customs in hours. Again, that's pretty much everywhere in the world today. So make sure that you are prepared for that. Baggage claim is pretty simple. They do have, again, you might or might not have internet when you arrive, depending on your flight, because I arrived one time with JetBlue. I had their internet the whole time. But again, when we were flying out, we couldn't get internet at all. We were not with JetBlue anymore. Depends on that. So make sure you are prepared regardless, and know where you have to go and pick up your car or the subway or whatnot. And if you need any more help with airport advice, check out my site, travelexperta.com, travel expert with an A.com. And remember to make every day an adventure.